I feel like there's not many companies that offer things like weigh-in tripods anymore. And I don't really understand that because I think there is still quite a high demand for them. A lot of people still use them, whether that's home or abroad. So today I've got my hands on the NGT weigh-in tripod system. So let's jump into the video and find out everything you need to know about it. So before we get too far into this video, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the benefits of a system like this. Now, some things will benefit some people, some things will benefit other people, but to me, there's a few that really do stand out. The top one is going to be accuracy of weigh-in. Now, we've all been there with a big fish, or anything that's say 20 pound and over, where you're holding it up and things are a little bit unstable. By using a system like this, you don't have that. Everything's going to be stable and you're going to get the most accurate weight that you can possibly get because there's no room for error. This is a very sturdy bit of kit. So once you've got weight on that middle point, there is no movement on that. There's none of this dial pinging about, but you know, on big sets of scales, that could be in £2 increments. And if it's flicking about like that, it is hard to get an accurate reading. But with something like this, it is going to be, like I say, as accurate as possible. But then the other main benefit, if you're a little bit less abled, if you're a little bit weaker, if you're a little bit older, picking up fish and weighing them isn't an easy task. Whereas anyone within reason can pick up a fish and hook it onto what this is, because you haven't got to be holding it for a prolonged period of time in a certain place to try and get a reading. So this benefits so many people in so many different ways. But probably one of the biggest questions you're going to have about this specific weigh-in tripod is just how strong it actually is. Now, it says that you can actually weigh fish of up to 150 pound on this, which being a carp-based channel, that basically means wherever you're fishing in the world, this is going to be strong enough for carp. I know there's exceptions with Siamese carp and things like that, and you know, it's obviously not going to cope with some of the biggest catfish that you might come up against, but putting it back into perspective, like I say, this is a carp fishing channel. So based on a carp fishing audience, this is going to cover absolutely everything. Now, I will test this at the end, not with 150 pound carp, but I have worked out that 150 pound is just under 11 stone. And I'm around 11 stone. I don't want to test it now, just in case it doesn't hold my weight, because I am actually over that threshold. But I might see if I can hang on it at the end of this video, just to really test that strength. I don't want to do it midway through because then that's the end of the video already. So let's move on to some of the other points of this. Now, actually setting this up is super easy. You've basically got 3 legs, it's a tripod, but each of these legs actually disconnect. So you've got just a little pushing toggle, and then that corresponds with a little hole on the upper bit of the leg. So obviously it's not this size when it comes to packing it down. It's actually half of this size, because they are the same length. And then basically it's a case of pushing everything together, and it actually comes in at a really nice compact package. But it comes with a carry bag as well, and it's obviously nice and easy to carry around, whether you're actually carrying it or whether it's on your barrow or something like that. Super easy to transport, and because of its nice thin size, it's easy to pack away in the car as well. It doesn't actually take up too much room. It is a bit heavy, not that heavy, it's still more than manageable, but I think tripods are the one exception where you do want a little bit of weight to them, because you want it to be sturdy. Camera tripods would be no good if they were really light, because half the time you're taking a camera up a mountain and the wind's just going to blow it over if it's light. So the same rule applies to this sort of tripod as well. You want it to be as sturdy as possible. Again, linking back to giving you the most accurate weigh-in. So size-wise, as you can see, it is actually a very large bit of kit. And in terms of actual dimensions, it is 140 centimeters by 150 centimeters by 195 centimeters high. So that just gives you some sort of context that this really is built to deal with some of the biggest fish you're going to be catching. But that doesn't mean you can't use it for smaller fish, because at the end of the day, it's got one purpose, and that is to hold and weigh fish accurately, which is exactly what it does. But at the end of each of these long legs, there are actually quite large mud feet. This is really handy because if you are weighing big fish, especially if you're taking it abroad and catching fish 60, 70, 80 pounds, then if it didn't have the mud feet, it would just be pulling into wet mud, wouldn't it? So by having these big mud feet, it really does help in that sense. And each of these feet actually have 2 pegging points as well. So if you really did want to secure it in place, even more so than just the actual weight of it holding it, then you can do that as well. Probably my favourite part when it comes to NGT products is going to be the price. This you can pick up for under 35 quid. So if it's one of them things that, yeah, you might only use it for one trip a year abroad when you are dealing with bigger fish that are harder to handle, then for 35 quid, it's going to earn its keep. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Do you see yourself using one of these, whether that's home or abroad? Have you already got something similar? And how much do you think it really does benefit your angling? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Come on then, NGT. Putting faith in you here. See how strong this really is. I'm gonna have to do it that way, I think. That's quite strong actually.